chance to prove myself.
Peter, what is going on with you?
I'm really sorry. I'm so busy. I'm slammed.
Don't mess with me, because I will kill you and everybody you love.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to ReelTime for the Real Everyday Movie Fan. I'm Josh Williams.
And I'm Ryan Murphy.
And today we're giving you our real-time review of Spider-Man Homecoming. We both got to see this.
Yes.
This might be a little bit longer of a video because I know he has a lot to say.
Yeah.
So let's get this hit off. Who is all in this movie?
This movie stars Tom Holland, of course, Robert Downey Jr., Michael Keaton, Marisa Tomei, Zendaya, Laura Harrier. It has a lot of appearances, actually. Donald Glover, Bokeem Woodbine, Stanley, of course, has a cameo. Jacob Batalon plays the best friend. Martin Starr. So, yeah.
And who is it? Tom Holland's his friend. Did you say his already?
Jacob Batalon.
Yeah,
yep.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So,
a lot of different characters.
Yeah.
A lot of different. But you got to see this. We both got to see this.
Why don't you go ahead and give your score out of 10?
My score? Okay, we'll go with the happier route first. Let's do
Okay.
that. I really liked this movie. I thought about it at first. I thought it was gonna be I thought it was the second best of all Spider-Mans, but now I think it's gonna be the third. But it doesn't take away from it. I'm giving it 8.9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. There are a couple. The only real problems I have are
8.9, wow.
the only problems I have are a couple of technical problems with the character and his powers, or even just in with the character itself. I thought about it. We can discuss these things because it's not really spoiler territory, because it doesn't take away from the story or anything like that. It's just small little details within the character.
Okay.
But I'll get into those later. Other than that, I really like this. I like the fact that Robert Downey Jr. wasn't in it as much as I thought.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that. I thought he was gonna be really in it a lot, and it didn't. It actually took time to get you got to know Tom Holland's Peter Parker with like his relationship with his friends, being able to juggle school and being a superhero. And he really you spent a lot of time in the school. I really like the fact that you got to spend more time with him in high school and kind of seeing him interact, like I said, with his friends, his peers, just how he is as being a teenager. I really liked that. So I will get into some more stuff as we go forward, but what about you?
My positives.
What's your score?
Is probably going to be about 6 out of 10.
Okay. Well, at least it's fresh.
Is it? Okay.
It's fresh.
So, yeah, first of all, let me start off with the positives. Anyone who goes to this movie will probably walk away you probably like it better than I did. Most people are seeming to. It is a very well-executed film for what it is.
Yes.
It is, objectively speaking, really, I can't really complain as an objective filmmaker. I just can't divorce myself as a Spider-Man fanboy. We will get to those things later on. But this and Wonder Woman this year kind of impressed me as very well-paced films.
Yes.
We talk a lot about, or you and I at least personally talk a lot about Transformer syndrome.
Yeah.
Transformer syndrome is a phenomenon in Hollywood the past 10 years where there is an overabundance of comedy that is poorly placed and poorly placed and really destroys the pacing, rips the narrative to shreds. This is the kind of movie that like those guys who make those movies should watch. Mm-hmm. And I include Marvel Studios in that. Marvel Studios is as guilty of it as
they do it sometimes.
with
A couple
Iron
of their
Man
movies
3 and Thor: The Dark
I
World.
think Age of Ultron kind of did it too a little bit.
I wouldn't say that, but you know, whatever. I think that this movie it has a lot of comedy, a lot of humor. It's a very lighthearted film. The comedy never interferes with the pacing. It keeps it going. It's part of the narrative. And I appreciate that. It's a very, I like to say, a good script is like a good song. It has a beat, has it has a rhythm, and this film never strays from its rhythm. It's tight. It's a polished screenplay, and I appreciate that. And I don't think that there's a whole lot of room to complain there.
No.
So
some of the things I really liked, Michael Keaton as Vulture. Yes. I was happy that it is a very well flushed out character with good depth to him. We're not gonna spoil like the background of his character, but it's pretty cool. Like when you see there's a reveal there of one of the parts of who he is and his personal life that I thought was really well done. It's very Spider-Man-esque. Like if you know a lot about like Spider-Man, like his villains that he faces or people he's like friends with or people he knows, just how it works. It's really cool how like it's very Spider-Man-esque. People who know Spider-Man or at least know of it know what I'm talking about. But other than that, he was a great character, really great, serious parts to it. There's a scene with him and Peter Parker that was really great. I mean, very well acted, and I thought he did a great job. Yeah. What about you? Anything else you can think of?
Nope, that's about it.
That's about it. Okay. Other than that,
we're ripping this to shreds.
Before we get to that, I'll get to one last positive. Then, I really liked the relationship, even though he wasn't a lot. I liked his relationship with Robert Downey Jr. Like him and Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey played more like a father figure, and I kind of really liked that kind of mentoring. There might be some more I'll think of later, but let's get to some of the negatives, and let's him go first.
Soapbox ready?
Here we go.
Here we go. Okay.
Let's all watch.
This is maybe the worst Spider-Man film in terms of how it portrays the character. Now, we all know Spider-Man 3 is an absolutely abysmal pit of darkness when it comes to filmmaking. That's like a 1 out of 10. That's an absolute atrocity on the history of cinema. However, just in terms of adapting the character of Peter Parker and telling his story, this is probably the worst, because this is the only film out of 6 films that completely betrays the entire central idea of Spider-Man, and that is, with great power comes great responsibility. And people are like, oh, you can't do the Uncle Ben story again. I'm not asking for them to do the Uncle Ben story again. I'm asking for there to be a freaking reference to Uncle Ben. And if people can't handle that because it's too repetitive, then Star Wars doesn't not be in space because it's too repetitive. It's like, I remember saying to you, before this movie came out, it's like, can you imagine, Josh, if they actually make a whole movie, Marvel Studios, nevertheless, that doesn't even reference Uncle Ben and Spider-Man? That'd be like, I remember saying this before, that would be like the worst movie ever, no matter what else it did. If it was Gone with the freaking Wind afterwards, it would be like the worst travesty ever. And sure enough, and I'm not going to go that hard on it, but the idea behind the character of Spider-Man, and all it would take would be like a line, is not only his guilt over Uncle Ben, but the concept of with great power comes great responsibility, and also the idea that Peter Parker's nemesis, his greatest enemy, is being Spider-Man. And that he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't. Go watch Spider-Man 2, right? He doesn't want to do it. Yes, it mucks up with his personal life, but he feels this great responsibility, this burden that's been placed on him that's just painfully nailed into his head by this one failing that he had. And as fun and lighthearted as the movies can be and as the character can be, there's that one dark aspect of it that is just absolutely central. And with this movie, you get a lot of the, I can't have this date, I can't do this thing, or I have to leave my girlfriend, and all these things where it's awkward and he can't have his personal life. You get all that, but the central reasoning behind it is 180 degrees flipped. This is all about Peter Parker's ambition. He doesn't hate being Spider-Man. He wants to be an Avenger. And this, I just want to be an Avenger. I just want to be an Avenger. And it's the reason he's knocking off all these social functions, the reason he's having trouble in his personal life, is not due to his responsibility, is not due to his obligation, it's due to his ambition and really his selfishness. And in a lot of ways, what he's doing is not right, which he gets in trouble for, which is, it's fine. I'm not saying you can't have that as a character arc, but there's no notion of this being a burden or of this being something that he has to do. Rather the opposite, he's actually acting, he's doing, it's just entirely the opposite of the central struggle of the character of Peter Parker that's made him Spider-Man from the beginning. And I really just can't forgive a film for that, especially one from Marvel Studios. And so you can call it nitpicking if you want, but that's the way I feel, and that's the way I'm good, and that's how I feel like it should. I
had a minor problem with, I wanted at least a line or something with Uncle Ben being referenced or something like that, but it didn't sway me away from the rest of the movie. In my opinion, they're not gonna just not have him be in the movie. They do have a reference to him, but he's not named.
It's beyond minimal. It's
but you got to think he's been Spider-Man, but until this point, he's been Spider-Man for probably a year by now, and you got to think they're not gonna harp on it too much. I wouldn't think that Kevin Feige, the guy who knows it all.
I wouldn't think so either.
I'm pretty sure it's in his. I hate to say I'm pretty sure, but I have to say I'm pretty sure it's in the lore of this Spider-Man's history, but they're just not going to harp on it because it has been done twice over. I don't know, but I did not like it I didn't like it as much as he did, but it did bother me just as slightly. I would have liked a line like you said of referencing to that because it is important.
Even just a line
But-
like the reason he wants to be an Avenger, the reason he's pursuing becoming an Avenger so much is because he feels like that's where he can personally do the most good to fulfill his responsibility. Even just like something like that would have fixed the entire film, and I would have like given it like much higher score. But like that central conceit, you can't do that big a disservice to the entire character and get away with it, especially if you're Marvel Studios.
Other small things I didn't like was it is an article out there, and I'm pretty sure people have read it. He doesn't have a spidey sense. To me, that's a very important part to the character, especially to Spider-Man, as being his powers. Now, Kevin Feige, from what I understand, did recently have an article come out. Like, it's there. It just hasn't been exploited. I don't know exactly what that means, but the fact that he doesn't have it as of now is kind of a big problem for me because certain things happen in this movie that a spidey sense would have definitely taken care of some of these scenarios. But other than that, those are the only. I only have other small few things, but I'm not going to get into them as much. I will say I can still highly recommend this movie to you guys to watch. The 3D effects are actually not too bad if you want to see it in 3D. It's a fun movie. Tom Holland is, I think, does a great job playing a teenage Peter Parker. You know, going through adolescent youth, trying to struggle, girls and school and being a superhero and learning and just seeing him grow up. I can't wait to see when they make a trilogy. What about you? Can you at least recommend this to people to go see it?
I can barely recommend it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Josh. It really is hard for me to get that way. It's such a central core idea. It's so hard to screw up. I really can't even understand it. But like you said, it's.
Besides that, though, do you think people still have a good time at the movies?
The screenwriter in me just loves the pacing of this film. I think if you're less uptight than I am about these aspects, especially if you haven't even seen the movie yet, you've now been forewarned by me, and maybe that'll help you let go a little further. Then yeah, I mean, I think you'll enjoy it.
You'll be able to still really enjoy yourself with this movie. So.
All
right, folks. That'll do it for today. Thank you very much for watching. What did you think of Spider-Man: Homecoming? If you have seen it, leave your comments section below without spoiling anything. What did you like and dislike, and what was your score out of 10? And now that you've seen this, what are your thoughts moving forward as far as you want to see it or not? Also, if you like what you're watching, please then smash that like button and subscribe to our channel to receive more of our content in the future. I'm Josh Williams.
And I'm Ryan Murphy.
And thank you for keeping it real.
With ReelTime.